Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome to Season 2 of Vampyre Clan in ClanGen. In the last episode, Eaglepaw graduated into a Mistwalker, earning the name Eagle Dawn along with the title of Eagle Prince. Things took a harrowing turn, however, when a hunt in the snow transformed into a violent storm, but Bloomrise made sure everyone returned safely to the ruins. I did say I was going to play off camera until we had a pregnancy, so I did exactly that, and I do have some notes that I want to go over before we begin. It was the first turn of Leafbear and Moon 81 when we left off. On Moon 82, Sunnytail's torn ear healed. On Moon 83, Twilight Fade's soreness abated, but he got green cough. Owlfeather was murdered by Iris Freckle in cold blood, sending Grandmaster Bluestar, Sunnytail, and Fornest deep into mourning. Sunnytail was promoted to Nightstalker, and Ibis Freckle was promoted to Whisper. On Moon 84, Ibis Freckle traveled to the Vampire Hunter clans to resolve some disputes. The meeting went better than expected, and she returned with a plan to solve the issue for good. On Moon 85, Twilight Fade recovered from green cough. Later, he was on a walk when he saw Master Quiet Flight being attacked by a rogue. He helped Quiet Flight escape, but not before gaining a few wounds. Fornest jolted awake and immediately left the den to clear his head, hoping some fresh night air would help him cope with the sadness and memories of losing his mate. We are now picking up on the final turn of New Leaf, and it is Moon 86. It has been 5 moons since we left off. So let's dive in and take a look at what happens next. I feel incredibly validated by the fact that I was convinced something was wrong with Iris Freckle this whole time. And what did she do? She went ahead and murdered Alpha in cold blood. Now, because this notice actually came up exactly as that, the murder or the murderer wasn't exactly hidden or mysterious. I'm gonna say that the entire clan of vampires know about this. And I'm thinking the way it went down, Ibis Freckle and Alpha, I think, were having a few disagreements of late, and they must have had yet another disagreement over something, and Ibis Freckle just snapped this time. And instead of ending the argument in that argument, she gave in to the darker side of herself, the thing telling her to just make Owlfeather shut up, and she killed Owlfeather in front of everyone. And I think the situation escalated so quickly from 0 to 100 that the other vampires, they were obviously very shocked by this, and I think they're a little bit afraid of Ibis Freckle and wary of her, which is why no one has really done anything to reprimand her or to outcast her in a way. They are almost tiptoeing around Ibis Freckle. She is so unhinged that they don't really know how to react. And that's a terrifying situation to be in. But yes, Ibis Freckle is very proudly a murderer in our camp. And she is not kind of afraid of any consequences at this point in time. In fact, she very easily took over the position of Whisper, which was her mate's position once Owlfeather died, because Sunnytail, he had to take over his sister's position as Nightstalker. And I don't think anyone would have said anything against that, because again, they don't want to cheese Ibis Freckle off, knowing that she killed Owlfeather over a small disagreement. So let's go ahead and see what is going on with these guys. I cannot believe that Leaffall was so boring and uneventful, and then the Leafbear, the wintertime, was so dramatic with these cats. So dramatic. We literally went from a 0 to 100. But okay. Vampyre Clan does not have enough healthy medicine cats. Cats will be sick/hurt for longer and have a higher chance of dying. That's right, because Sunnytail, I think, is still in mourning. I mean, he lost his sister. It must be so shocking to know that your mate killed your sister. Vampyre Clan doesn't have enough prey for the next moon, so we have been struggling with food as well, because a lot of the clan have been in mourning and nobody has been able to go out and hunt, and when they haven't found anything. So winter was really, really tough. And then the reason we have returned, our vampire murderer Ibis Freckle announced that she is expecting kids. So many things could happen to Ibis Freckle and her kids if she kept working. Worried by the consequences of not her murder, but of continuing her duties too long, she settles into the nursery. Fornest was struggling with a recent flood of nightmares, but thankfully they seem to have stopped. Fornest must be terrified, because he had that nightmare about his sister a long time ago, and he comforted himself by saying it wasn't real, it was just fake, it was made up, it was the mind, just being crazy. But then his treasured sister did murder the mate he was in love with, and I think that would have brought just a new wave of nightmares to him. He must be terrified of his older sister right now. And then we had a rogue that was waiting on the border, led by Bloomrise, or I should say waiting on the border, and then came across a patrol led by Bloomrise and asked to join the clan. But obviously we know that the clan of vampires, they don't accept outsiders. However, they did guide Pounce to the cats living outside of the ruins called the Initiates, who obviously want to at some point join the vampires. I think in the very first episode of this season we spoke about how those cats, they're kind of waiting for a chance to be recognized by the vampires and turned into one of them. So this is Pounce, one of the cats that have newly joined our clan of Initiates. So this is Initiate Clan. And this is the group of cats we will pull from if we can no longer breed within our clan as it is. And then Bloomrise fought a dog but was barely even hurt. She's a bit bruised, but bruises are better than claw marks. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the medicine cat den. Twilight Fade has a claw wound and a tournier. Oh my goodness. And then we have Blue Star, Sunnytail, and Fornest, who are grief-stricken, and then Ibis Freckle is pregnant. Bloomrise has some bruises, but we're kind of struggling. The clan is struggling. Grandmaster Blue Star was given time as treatment for grief-stricken. Twilight Fade was given Marigold as treatment for claw wound. Twilight Fade was given Marigold as treatment for tournier. Sunnytail was given time as treatment for grief-stricken. Fornest was given Poppy as treatment for grief-stricken. And poor Fornest. I feel terrible for him. Let's go ahead and take a look at relationships. And I think Ibis Freckle, now that she's pregnant, does have a very, odd sort of status in the clan. Obviously, everyone's terrified of her, terrified of the murderer that she is, but also they desperately want kids, and right now she is the one that's going to give them kittens. So it's almost as though, do they revere her, do they fear her? People are the cats I should say, are very confused. Okay, Sunnytail motivated Grandmaster Blue Star to get out of her nest this morning. Grandmaster Blue Star debated the meaning of a prophetic dream with Ibis Freckle. Okay. Yeah, I think Blue Star, we've seen this with the death of her youngest child and now apparently her oldest. But she hasn't been one in her life to basically, have an eye for an eye. She's always wanted to end the cycle of violence in whatever form it comes, and she might be doing the same with Ibis Freckle. Burnleaf is happy today, but Fornest doubts it will last long. After the gathering, Burnleaf notices that Grandmaster Blue Star is making sure everyone got home. Twilight Fade is letting Grandmaster Blue Star share her troubles with him, hoping she'll feel better afterwards. Master Quiet Flight surprises Twilight Fade with something nice. Master Quiet Flight and Eagle Dawn have a fun patrol and plan to tell stories about it later to their clanmates. The silence between Master Quiet Flight and Bloomrise feels more uncomfortable than usual. Oh my goodness. We have been aware for a long time that Quiet Flight and Bloomrise hate each other, and the reason why they have so many disagreements between them is because of Ibis Freckle. Bloomrise has been saying from the very beginning that everyone should be careful of Ibis Freckle, and Quiet Flight really disliked that Bloomrise was painting her daughter as some sort of villain or some sort of twisted creature, when in her eyes that wasn't the case. Her daughter was kind of the ideal child. But after the recent murder that's happened, obviously Quiet Flight and Bloomrise would have very uncomfortable silence between them, because Quiet Flight now knows that Bloomrise was right. But Bloomrise, she is not the type of cat. She's compassionate. She's not going to want to rub that in. But she's aware that she did say that in the past and nobody listened to her. So, this is so terrible, but it makes so much sense. Sunnytail talks with Bloomrise about some clan drama. Sunnytail notices that Eagledawn overslept. Eagledawn thanked Ibis Freckle for bringing him food. Fournest hears Quiet Flight laugh at a clanmate's joke even though it was lame. Bloomrise worries that the clan trusts Burnleaf more than her. Fournest is welcoming Pounce into Initiate Clan, we shall say. Fournest asks Pounce if she could use some help getting introduced to the other clan members. Bloomrise offers Pounce some tips for building a new nest. Eagledawn thinks Twilight Fade tells the best stories, and that is all we have for events. So we are down to 9 cats, and obviously not a lot of vampires who can go out and hunt, which is, what we need. So I want to go through and see what everyone's doing for the day, but something else I wanted to mention about Sunnytail and Ibis Freckle, our 2 mated cats who are going to have the next litter, they are not actually in love with each other, guys. Sunnytail and Ibis Freckle, it's a little bit difficult to see their relationship, but where is it? So, yeah, he doesn't have a romance in the green, so I don't consider that to be love. So he has not fallen in love with her, and she has not fallen in love with him either. Where is he? Yeah, look at that. Her romance with him is kind of barely there. It's like only a half bar of romance. So with the 2 of them, they have stuck together because obviously their match was arranged by Grandmaster Bluestar, and it was kind of expected of them, but they took a long time to even think about having kids. They have briefly talked about it over the moons once or twice, but they haven't really taken it that seriously. And I think Sunnytail was never one to, try and pursue Ibis Freckle. He was always kind of more busy with his life, and Ibis Freckle, I think, was very cold towards Sunnytail. And I don't know, I kind of feel like everyone in general, emotionally, she might seem like she's not, but she's emotionally quite cold. And obviously she did not want Sunnytail getting close to her unless it was on her terms. And after the death of Owlfeather, Ibis Freckle, in a twisted way, felt that now that the clan was 1 cat short, they needed to make up their numbers as the vampires do. So she allowed Sunnytail to kind of court her. And that is how she's having her kittens now. But I don't think she was having her kittens out of a desire to have a family or to continue her bloodline or anything like that. I think it was just a decision, like a practical decision, that the clan's smaller, we need more numbers, we need more Mistwalkers. So she finally gave in to the expectation for her to have kittens. So it is very cold and twisted. But yeah, this is very different to the dynamic that Fournest and Owlfeather had. They were in love when they had, I think, Eagledawn. So things are obviously quite twisted. They are quite twisted. But let's see what's going on with these cats. So Grandmaster Bluestar is wondering what the inside of a 2-legged den looks like. Master Quiet Flight saw a kitty pet sitting calmly next to a dog. Sunnytail can't keep up with Grandmaster Bluestar. Ibis Freckle can't wait to take a nap later. Fournest is looking forward to finding more prey as the snow melts. Bloomrise worries Grandmaster Bluestar is overworking herself. Eagledawn purrs as a cool breeze hits him. Burnleaf is feeling silly, maybe because he kept doubting Bloomrise every time she would say something about Ibis Freckle, and now his own daughter Owlfeather has become a victim. That's kind of interesting. Owlfeather and Fournest were his former apprentices, and they ended up being mated to each other. Twilight Fade is cloud watching. Now, something I don't typically do, but I'm kind of wondering if I should. I might just quickly zoom through the relationships for these cats just to see if there's any new hatreds I don't recognize. Yeah, I might do that. I'm not going to look at every aspect because it's easy to get overwhelmed. I'm just going to see if there's any new hatreds that I don't remember. We already know about Quiet Flight and Bloomrise. We know about that. So Sunnytail apparently has a hatred for Eagle Dawn. And this is why I wanted to take a look, because I was kind of surprised by this a little bit. But he does not seem to get along too well with his nephew. Now, I wonder if it's because he is deeply in... I mean, he's always had some difficulty with Eagle Dawn, but he, you know, is deeply in mourning over Owlfeather's death, and Eagle Dawn was close to his mother Owlfeather, but I think Eagle Dawn has also always maintained a bit of a friendship with his aunt Ibis Freckle, and even though Sunnytail, yes, is mated to Ibis Freckle, is about to have kids with Ibis Freckle, maybe he's using this as yet another excuse to hold something against Eagle Dawn by saying she killed your mother, how can you still be friends with her? Yeah. Okay, Ibis Freckle doesn't have any new hatreds. Fawn Nest doesn't. We know about Bloomrise and Quiet Flight. Eagle Dawn doesn't have any new hatreds. Burnleaf doesn't. And we know about Twilight Fade and Ibis Freckle. Okay, so that was the only new kind of hatred that we had with Sunnytail with Eagle Dawn, which is very, very unfortunate. But okay, that is all we have for the cat list. And now it is time for us to take a look at our very measly patrol. So we currently have 17 prey and we need 23. We don't even have our Nightstalker who can go out and get some herbs and stuff. We only have our 3 cats. And I feel like at a time like this, the fact that we have an Eagle Prince would be even more important. You know, even having one kitten who grew up into adulthood is so important, because when the clan needs food and you have so many cats down, you might be the one cat keeping everyone alive. So we're gonna get Eagle Dawn, Master Quiet Flight, and Bloomrise going out on a patrol, and it is going to be a hunting patrol because they are low on food. So let's see what they get up to. Eyes glowing with the last rays of the sunset, the small hunting party heads out into the gathering dusk. Proceed. Bloomrise tries to show off, but it screws up the coordination of the entire patrol. Wonderful. Great job, Bloomrise. Oh no, every single time we've sent her on a hunt, she's done so well, but this one time when we desperately need food, that's when she screws up. Oh no, that definitely means someone is going to go hungry. Someone is most definitely going to go hungry. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.